Kia ora, and welcome back to the Mount Smart Madness podcast, where we dive into all things New Zealand Warriors, because we, as fans, live and breathe all things New Zealand Warriors. So today we're going back in time to review the very first season that the Warriors played, 1995. So this year we were one of 4 new teams to enter the competition. It was very exciting that New Zealand finally had a team in what was then the ARL, now called the NRL, of course. So, quick summary, of course coached by John Money and captained by Dean Bell. 20 teams in that competition. That year we ranked 10th out of 20, of course top 8 was going through to the finals that year. So we had 13 wins and 9 losses for that season, scoring 538 points and conceding 501 points for the season, which left us with a positive points differential of 51. Now, the 8th place team that year was the North Sydney Bears, who were on the same number of points that we were at the end of the season, which was 24 points, but had a superior for and against record there of 211 points. So just missing out on the finals there by points differential. But of course, there was controversy to that as well. Go through that in a little bit. So some highlights of the seasons. Top try scorer was Sean Hoppy with 19. That actually placed him 3rd in the league. Top try scorer that year for the ARL was 21, Steve Menzies. So going back to the Warriors, top goal scorer that year was Gene Namo with 36 goals, and top point scorer for the season was also Gene Namo with 84 points. A few of the highlights of the matches, of course round 1, 10th of March against Brisbane, home crowd, which was a very narrow loss that day, 25-22 to the Broncos. March 16th, round 3, and here is where the controversy of controversies for the season lies. We were actually docked 2 competition points that day for using an extra interchange player in the win over the Western Suburbs Magpies. And of course, had that not happened, we would have been through to the finals, because remember we missed out on points differential being on the same number of players, points, sorry. And so yeah, that day we used a 5th interchange player, which we shouldn't have. They were sent on as a blood bin replacement, with the coaching staff not realising that was actually against the rules. Okay, round 7, 23rd April, Stacey Jones, the one and only, the little general. He makes his debut for the Warriors, and he scores 6 points, including a try, and the win over Parramatta. Famously chased through a grubber kick into the end goal to score a try, and pushes Phil Blake out of the way to get that try. Cheeky little guy. Round 11, 4th of June. Final 2 members of the squad, Frano Bodica and Dennis Betts, make their debuts. They were a bit late joining the squad after finishing up their season in England, playing for Wigan. And so the first official win that wasn't taken off us was not until round 6 against the Illawarra Steelers, which was at home, 38-12 win there. Sean Hoppy scoring 2 tries that day, along with Ropati, Alexander, Bell, Mann and Tawa. So we were actually sitting in the top 8 between rounds 16 and 21. But yeah, a loss in the final round of the season to the Broncos meant we dropped out of the top 8. And yep, again controversially, had those 2 points taken off us. Otherwise, yeah, we would have been through the finals in our very first season, which, man, that would have been something, wouldn't it? But exciting season, nevertheless. And they actually done quite well to get 13 wins in their first ever season. But by comparison, North Queensland Cowboys were also a new team that year and only managed to get 2 wins for the entire season. So, yeah, weren't doing too bad. Just my little bit of analysis there. I think what helped us do so well is that we did have quite a number of experienced players that we did actually sign up, which I think helped. Yeah, of course, Sean Hoppy had been doing pretty well at the Raiders before he moved across to us. Yeah, other experienced players, Phil Blake, Greg Alexander, Steve Kearney, of course, Dean Bell, the captain, all very experienced players. I think that really helped us in terms of having a good playing group together, and did certainly help us get some wins. So some of the other wins for the year was against the Parramatta Eels, big 40-4 win there. Just snuck home against the Sydney Roosters. Again, just snuck home against the Cronulla Sharks. Good win against the Tigers. Win against the Magpies, the Rabbitohs. Massive win against the Gold Coast Seagulls, 44-16 in round 15. Other wins against the Reds, the Crushers, the Cowboys, and the Bulldogs. For a couple of late losses in the season and just dip out on the finals. Overall, very exciting season, I think. It was just amazing to have a New Zealand team in the Aussie comp. It's really exciting around Auckland. Yeah, certainly a buzz around the team. Some pretty good crowd sizes for that year too. Of course, just under 30,000 for that first game against the Broncos. Yeah, 21,000 in round 3. That's about 30,000 against Manly in round 5. So yeah, some pretty good crowd sizes for that first year. Just such a shame to only just miss out on those finals, but yeah, very exciting, and yeah, it was a pretty good season first up, I think, for a very new club. It can be very, very tough for a new club coming into the comp to do well in their first season. So yeah, all round pretty solid effort, and if it wasn't for that controversy, who knows what would have happened. I'd like to see them go into the finals. But yeah, that's the summary of the season for this week. Hope you'll come back for the next video, and just remember, this year is our year. We are loyal to the bitter end.